All right, guys, so we're gonna go over common positions of Jiu-Jitsu from a sport perspective and also from self-defense. So we're just gonna run through certain scenarios. I'll stop in positions and briefly go over them, like what each person would be thinking, higher level, and then kind of keep it a general, like what type of things to look for, what common phrases and terms to hear when you're just starting. So the first thing is we're in standing. And whether it's a self-defense or a sport match, we're in a neutral position. So neither person has a grip. The first thing we need to do is establish a decision about takedown. So maybe, I prefer takedowns that are dependent on grips. Or maybe I like takedowns that are dependent upon speed, like maybe I shoot in fast. Wrestling background, judo background, maybe a hybrid. Regardless of what takedown that you do, that's your goal, is to take them down, or you get taken down. That's kind of the way it goes. So let's say me and Damien are starting, and I just get in on a single leg, and I take him down. So now I've taken him down, he's on bottom, I'm on top. This position that he's in is a guard. And anytime the legs are between each other, so his legs are between him and I, he is in a guard. If I get around his legs, I'm no longer in a guard. We'll go over that in a second. This position, we're calling it open guard. There's many types of open guard. And an open guard is just that. His legs are open, his ankles are not crossed, and I'm between him and I. So maybe he uses his feet to keep me at bay. Maybe, whatever it is, this is an open guard. Now, if I get drawn in, or maybe I fall, maybe my takedown, here's a good thing to think about. Maybe my takedown puts me in his closed guard, and this is the closed guard. This position is when his legs are around my torso, above my hips, and his ankles are crossed. So now this is kind of like the beginning of being in someone's closed guard. And what happens here? To the untrained eye, it might look like the person on top is the dominant one, the one that can, do more damage and maybe win. And that is true to a certain extent if strikes are allowed. But if we're playing jiu-jitsu and we're just practicing the art, he's actually the one that has more weapons, and I'm the one that's on defense. So I shouldn't really be trying to put him in submissions or, shoulder locks or chokes. I should be trying to open his guard and open his legs and get around. He's looking to attack me. Maybe collar chokes, trying to do different things. Maybe he does. That's one thing that I want to talk about, is if he does get a submission, I acknowledge him and his success in that position by just tapping out, and then he lets go. So if it's an X choke and he gets me in the choke and it's like checkmate, the tap is the end, and we'll reset back to the feet. So now I'm on top, so what do I do? First thing I want to do is I want to defend the things that he's trying to attack me with, neutralize what he's doing. And then open his guard, open his legs with many techniques which you'll learn. And then there's many different types of guard. We talked about this being an open guard. This, if I get to one side and I get here, this is a half guard position. I'm halfway past the guard. He has weapons here, I have weapons here. I can now submit him from this position, but at the same time, he can submit me from this position. So it's a position where both people are offense. And then I pass the guard with however pass you like, and I've passed his legs. So now we're in what we call side control or side mount. We don't call it side guard. You'll hear that sometimes. That's not the position that you want to call this. So it's side control. And now I am fully offensive. He is fully defensive, and he should be fully defensive. If they catch you in a submission, maybe he gets me in like a wrist lock here. That's my mistake. That should not happen. Okay, so now I'm in side control and I'm looking to attack and submit with whatever it is. And if I can, I want to progress to the full mount. And this is one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant. Mount and back mount are the best positions to be in. My knees are above his hips. My knees are above his hips and under his armpits. I'm sort of like, it's like a motorcycle guy. My knees are by the torso, my big toes are turned in. I don't want to make too much space because that's how he makes his escapes. And maybe he turns his back and he goes belly down. And I put my feet inside. These are our hooks. We're now on the back mount. So the goal would be to get my hooks inside. And this is where you can attack the back. You can attack the rear naked chokes. You can do different techniques. We have a position which we call seatbelt control, which is one under his armpit, one over his shoulder. And then I hug this position. So just sit on the butt. So this is your hooks. We'll get close so you guys can see. So these are my hooks, over the shoulder, under the armpit. This is seatbelt control. If I'm on this side, so we can go here, you can see I'm on the choking side. The over the shoulder grip is my choking side. And this is where I can get my grip, put the choke in, and succeed. Okay? Another position that happens sometimes from side control and even from the feet is maybe this guy or girl, whoever you're with, turns in, just turns in. Maybe they're trying to get up to their knees, and we get into what we call turtle position, or an all fours position. He's on his knees, he's on his elbows, and I'm past his arms. And I don't want to do the front so he can grab my leg and turn this into a single leg and a wrestling match and put me back down. So when you're on somebody in turtle, you want to stay behind the arms. And we'll go over all these things, but these are just common positions to think about. So we can go over a simple scenario. Maybe he tries to shoot on me, and I get a front headlock grip. I drag him down. I spin to the back. I put my hooks in. I bring him down. And I put my choke in. Obviously, it'll be different than that. Or he takes me down, however he likes. Maybe he likes double legs, okay? Maybe he's in side control, and maybe he takes my back. Maybe we're getting out. Maybe I escape. Maybe I get on top. Maybe I go to mount. Maybe I end Americana. Okay? So those are some scenarios, some things to think about, whether it's self-defense or it's sport jiu-jitsu. Those are the terms, those are the positions. And the cool thing is you can dive deep into each position and see a whole new sort of technical world. Things that you don't even see once you dissect the position. There's a lot more than you think. All right.